the beastmen. Cows doing front flips, stone throwing Cygors. I don't know how to explain this one. Today in Total Warhammer 3 we'll be playing as Taurox, a steroid pumped bull with copper skin, who will bring an end to the old world and their burger making mannerisms for good. Our main goals are simple: destroy the capital of Altdorf, winning the final battle, and burning down the Oak of Aegis and the Forest of the Wood Elves, because I have a deep hatred for green men.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
We'll be starting in the highly anticipated Old World map, a new mod that focuses on the old world of Warhammer 1, but with the new additions. We'll be playing on legendary difficulty, because I enjoy suffering. Let's get it started. Loading into the game, one thing is apparent: everybody hates us. So, what better way to greet our neighbors than on the battlefield? The bulls are on parade, and it's a bad time to be a man of the Empire. Look at how small he is. Holy shit. Earning us the first of many victories and securing our afternoon snacks. Next order of action was to besiege their settlement and claiming it as our own.
What is that?
Now is probably a good time to explain this, because the beastmen have a ton of mechanics that will literally take me hours to explain in depth. I'll keep it simple. The most important thing is herdstones. These temporary or permanent settlements gives us blood grounds in the nearby area. The more destruction and killing we do within this area, the better rewards we can claim by completing the ritual of the herdstone, thus allowing us to place more herdstones to create even bigger blood grounds. Now, because we're really just farm animals with weapons, we don't really pay any taxes or upkeep. Not like the AI does either on this difficulty, committing tax fraud like it's nothing. The beastmen are also a horde faction, which means that they can recruit and build within their armies, basically making them moving cities. So, to get more armies and better units, we need to upgrade their unit caps via a currency named Dread, which we earn by, you guessed it, death and destruction. Pretty simple, right? With more of this Dread, we can now up the unit caps and unlock some pretty cool stuff. And you can see how this pretty much snowballs into chaos. Now that we got all that confusing shit out of the way, let's go. We continued by successfully befriending more men of the Empire and promoted our new general in their honor. We also entered gleeful diplomacy with an equally horrible ratman named Garrett, who thought he was funny, until I curb stomped him so hard he won't appear in this video ever again. Inspired by this, a Vampire Counts faction came to our aid, and in true Beastman fashion, an enemy of my enemy is also my enemy.
You fool!
Leading into the battle with the Empire reinforcing us somehow, we put the fear of God into the bonies, using our monstrous brain capacity to its fullest, giving the Count such a bad defeat that he decided to engage in identity theft. Now, Taurox is a man who believes in equality, so it was only right to kill the Empire too, mixing a tasty stew of bone and flesh. Ah, much better. We then put down a new herdstone on our quest to expand, and I found a perfect specimen to lead our new army, giving him a fitting name. And the stars aligned as we found yet another booze-craving astute champion, a name fit for a king. If only I could fucking spell! After having earned some more dread, we now had enough to unlock a new legendary lord. So, I went with Morgar's Shadowgave, only to find out that he was camping out in Bretonia. So let's just say it might take a while before we can actually get him here. Arriving back to the blood grounds, Mabu was on a drunk tear, attacking a nearby enfeebled man. A fair fight if you ask me. They deployed in some weird strategic formation, so I countered it with running straight into them, followed by unhinged magic poppin' zits, and unleashing an heinous amount of Axe deodorant spray. With drunken lunacy wielding clubs and trampling what was left of him, we killed the last of the bonies. Back to Taurox, as he found himself in a rather special position. Taurox's army against 3 stacks of humans and ogres. It was time for well-executed strategy. He's just walking through him. Keep going, man. And let me tell you, the execution part was pretty great. I'm not so sure about the other one, but oh well. But hey, at least Taurox got to blow off some steam. So, a victory's a victory. I kept chasing down the ogres and attacking a general named Dunk, So of course we had to dunk on him.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Now, this might seem like where I would normally end my turn. However, we have this. Yeah.
How? How did they think that was okay to even put it in the game?
The main campaign trait of Taurox is his Rampage feature, in which you can not only get some pretty busted rewards, you can also replenish your movement range at the cost of 3 momentum. So, as long as you keep winning battles, you can get pretty far, as if Taurox wasn't already broken as it is. At this point, we had earned up enough dread to recruit both legendary lords Malagor and Khazrak to strengthen our next attack on civilization. However, in the meantime, we needed something to do.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
In a battle where we were outnumbered 1-8, the auto-resolve said this battle would end in a valiant defeat. However,
we do not care.
This Empire army also deployed in this deranged formation, so I gave Taurox some amphetamine and sent him going to warm up before the reinforcements could arrive. And so when they finally did, they didn't exactly have the greatest of time, throwing themselves into our wood chipping lines, and so we proved them wrong. With only being a stone throw away from Altdorf and set in a manic state, I sent Taurox straight away to lay the killing blow to the heart of the Empire, going through battle after battle until we finally had reached the capital and laid our siege. It was finally happening. A big event for us farm animals, eh? The Empire had always looked at us as the laughingstock, but now we'll make them into livestock. Taurox spent about an hour yanking at the gates with his bare fists, but it worked. And he didn't waste a second attacking the first troops he saw. The rest of the cows were fast to arrive and commence the slaughter. With the gates breached, we now quickly overran the humans. As the Empire garrison was ill prepared for our attack, and with us blitzing through the city, we quickly earned our victory. However, the slaughter within the gates continued. Taurox deemed the herald of change, and with him, death and destruction would demise the heart of the Empire. After our decisive win, we placed our herdstone into the fold of our growing blood grounds, a signal for all mankind that the end of man had begun. Suddenly aware of his duties, Karl Franz showed up the very next turn. The battle of mankind was upon us. Taurox and Khazrak against 4 stacks of the Empire.
Let's go.
We started brushing the first Empire army as fast as possible, charging at an unprepared line of defense. We outclassed them in just about everything, and we gave them a pretty unruly dick flattening. Smelling the flattened genitalia, Khazrak came as fast as he could. The same could be said for the Empire, who also approached the battlefield. Needing to prove himself, Karl Franz foolishly charged ahead of his army. And while you might call this heroic, I call him dead on arrival. With their general wounded, the Empire army was disorganized, so we took advantage of a badly managed counterattack, fighting on a steep hill where prestige won over numbers. Understanding their mistake, they were quick to flee, sending in their reinforcements to take the heavy blow. The battle continued for quite some time over multiple fronts, but with horrible morale, the main army fled, leaving behind the rest to die at our hands. The beastmen were now the apex predator ruling the Reichland forests. With an embarrassing defeat and counterattack, and Karl pushed down the old stairs, we swept up the remaining armies one by one. Meanwhile, on his drunken rambles, Mabu ran into the armies of the Golden Order, led by a war priest. Now, the best way to acknowledge your sins is to be that random drunk driver on a Thursday afternoon. Using this amazing philosophy for war, and a little bit of more drunk driving, Mabu was done for the day. Life of a man of the Empire was now pretty shitty. With the Reichland under our control and their armies conquered, the taste of man was getting kinda boring. So with having arrived at Athaloran, our choice was simple: declaring war on Treemen. Okay, alright, declaring war on all the Treemen and their tree-hugging friends. Now, even with this new fun war, one thing was clear. Durthu's faction is strength rank 19.
Stop the cap.
Now add together all his friends, and our new war poses a mighty threat. Unlike our war with the Empire, it was a complete pushover. Sorry I had to do it again. Just look at his face. Look at his stupid little face. So, after a meeting discussing friendship with this man, that is just weird. We were posed with a pretty interesting battle. The Wood Elves were not pulling any punches. And with our main army withered from all the fighting, winning this battle was vital. And while beating their first army was child's play, I highly advise people with dendrophobia to look away, because there were so many trees. As axes were swung and arrows flung, the fighting was beginning to become desperate, as they were dwindling our forces, massacring my most prestigious units. The battle took a dark turn for the worse, ending in a desperate draw? What? Draw? With our confidence shattered, suffering an embarrassing defeat. It was clear we needed a catalyst to turn the tide. It was clear we needed a hero. And who's better to call upon than Mabu, the drunk? Facing them in their home court, winning was essential. And in the promise of more booze, our army charged forward. Mabu leading, of course, playing Drunk Olympics in just how many he could hit. Shugo joining in too. And with these insane strats, our comeback was officially on. And while our entrance to Athaloran was highly guarded, it was nothing a little beastman shimmy couldn't fix. With a tablespoon of insanity, of course. Having busted the gates wide open, we took our chance and charged into the forest, easily killing the garrison, making the beginning of the end of the Wood Elves. To celebrate all this, I declared war on this Chernobyl-graced green man, Orion, the sacred defender of the Oak of Ages. As it was finally within our grasp, I quickly prepared an assault, so we could strike as fast as possible, and with no real help in sight, we advanced on their settlement. It was time for them to feel the heat. We had now reached the roots of the Oak of Ages, drunk in belief that this victory was ours for the taking. Probably drunk on some other stuff too, but hey. As Mabu and the reinforcements arrived, we stormed the settlement, desolating the front lines and causing chaos in their line of defense. We moved swift and quickly broke down all of their defenses. In a decisive victory, we had brought upon the apocalypse to the Wood Elves. As Malagor led his men to celebrate, we had now taken their home. And while I could call it quits here, I'm not one for complacency. Let him burn. Drunk on confidence, I led into my next battle with high spirits. However, nobody told me trees have wieners, because I certainly got fucked. But hey, at least my army is still alive. Hey, what are you doing? Well, at least these were better odds. We charged like our lives depended on it. But the Wood Elves fought valiantly to the last man, leading to another crushing defeat. Oh my god!
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Much better. With the Wood Elves put where they belong, I think this is a fair place to end it, since the footage of the final battle looked like this. So thank you guys for watching. I love you. Bye.